Hey, what's up guys? Nick the Informative Fisherman here on behalf of Lucky Tackle Box. It's winter time, but you don't want to finesse fish. What's a bait that can still get some bites if done right? That's right, good old faithful chatterbait. I just happened to get one here in my December box, and I wanted to go over some key tips of how I fish them in the winter time. Yeah, you're not going to catch nearly as many fish as you would finesse fishing, but you can still get some lunkers, and let's break down how I would go about doing it. So what are you going to notice about the chatterbait I have tied on? I have a big bulky plastic right here that has lots of sensitive moving appendages, meaning I can go slower with lots of action. This happens to be a Strike King Rage Bug that I also received in the Lucky Tackle Box. Another thing you're going to notice, about every 4 or 5 skirts I trim to half the length. What that does is it requires less water tension for more movement of the tensile in the skirt material. So as I go slower, you're going to see more natural action in the skirt of that chatterbait. Black. The blade is black. Now if it comes like this, you can easily take a big black Sharpie and chalk that out. 90% of the time when it comes to wintertime chatterbait fishing, I'm mimicking a crawdad. Even a bluegill is going to be a little bit darker in the wintertime, buried down in that grass. They still have no problem keying in on darker colors. I don't like any flash on a chatterbait when I'm fishing it in the wintertime. Like I said, 90% of the time I'm mimicking a crawdad. I oftentimes fish a chatterbait on 20-pound fluorocarbon. This happens to be 15 right here. You can go as low as 12, and the reason why I'm going to go with a thinner diameter fluorocarbon is I'm generally trying to make consistent bottom contact, and we're going to go over that presentation. That thinner line diameter is going to stay deeper in the water column without creating water resistance, lifting your chatterbait up off the bottom. If you're confident fishing 12-pound line, you should absolutely do that. You will get extra bites being right down in their strike zone the whole time. One thing you're going to notice about my Rage Bug is it's rigged sideways, so it has more of a profile of a bluegill, so to speak. Instead of laying flat mimicking a crawdad, it is swimming like this with multiple appendages kicking. I do remove one side arm on the top hook, which kind of gives it a good style keel with that hook right there. This bait's going to cause a lot of natural body roll at slow speeds with these appendages moving pretty much as you drag it. Now you can bend your chatterbait blade around to create more sensitivity and more lift at slower speeds, but generally right out of the box you can still fish them down to the upper 40-degree mark. So let me show you a couple other things here. So the setup I happen to be using today is a Sticks reaction stick. This is a 7'6" medium heavy, moderate fast action. I'm making a long cast and I'm slowly covering the water. This is Alexa 100. Like I already said, it's 15-pound fluorocarbon, but you can use 12. I'm generally not gonna go than a 7-to-1 gear ratio. If you do have something faster, just remind yourself to slow down. I'm gonna go over some key tips right now. The water could be 4 feet right here, it could be 8 feet right here. Either way, you want to cast out there and you want to lay your line down. You want to stare at your line as it's dropping. You're going to see your fluorocarbon dropping under the water, and all of a sudden it's going to instantly slow down. If it instantly slows down, that means you've now made bottom contact. Remember, fluorocarbon's dense, it is going to progressively sink other way. You're just looking for a sudden speed change to make absolutely certain you're on the bottom. From there, you're going to make one pop, bump like that, and then you're going to slowly start to slow roll with your tip down. Always tip down. You want to create a low line angle in the wintertime when it comes to retrieving. You're going to retrieve just fast enough on your reel to where it's telepathing what the bait's doing. And what I mean is you're going to feel that subtle vibration. If you don't feel the vibration, there's 2 things you can do. Let me bring that up. If you throw it out there, and I'm not going to let it hit the bottom, so I'm reeling, going a little too fast. Oh, I don't feel vibration. I'm going to pop it one time. If it gets hung up in grass and you pop it, it's going to speed up, accelerate, and decrease in speed. It's going to look wounded. That could trigger the bass that's in that grass. Now you start to slow reel. You feel that chatterbait moving. If it doesn't feel like you've made contact for a while, stop it. Make certain. Stop it a few times throughout your retrieve in the wintertime. Pop it one time real hard and start to slow roll it again. If you don't feel it moving, let it fall to the bottom again. Pop, pop 2 times and start to slow roll to feel that chatterbait moving. This is absolutely imperative. You're creating action along the bottom where these bass are hunkered down, and you're not removing it too high in the water column, forcing them to have to chase when they're lethargic and cold. So bottom contact is key. Making sure that blade is moving enough and as slow as you can possibly reel it to feel it is absolutely critical. Another thing, guys, when that water starts getting down in the low 50s or upper 40s, in cold water, scent seems to be a big player. If I'm mimicking a crawfish and moving slow across the bottom, whether it's a jig or doing a deadly slow retrieve with a chatterbait style bait like this, I'm going to use scent. This is a gel scent. This is the Liquid Mayhem crawfish. You always want to make sure you match your presentation accordingly with that scent. They didn't go out of their way to put crawfish scent in here, so you can put it on a bluegill looking bait or a shad looking bait. Match it up accordingly. They did the math, so should you. You can use spray scents like Bang. If you want to just use something foreign, you can always use a garlic scent. Garlic is a good all-around, give them a different type of scent deal. But I really think if it's slick, calm, conditions are tough, you haven't been getting bit, go with the real deal. Unless you have a buddy going with crawfish on crawfish, then go ahead and get a garlic scent and do that. The spray works well, it comes off faster. The gel seems to last all day. It can make a mess. Make sure you only put it on your plastic trailer and not on the skirt or the blade of your chatterbait. You stick it back in your box, it's gonna smell like death. You don't want that. Now I want you to imagine this. You're fishing a certain contour. If you're stuck on the shoreline and bank fishing in the wintertime with a chatterbait, that's actually perfect. So let's imagine this is deep. Here's our water line right here. You want to be shallow, cast deep, let it hit the bottom. That way, as you're retrieving, you're always staying closer to that bottom. You're paralleling the bottom. You never want to be casting from you know, up deep out shallow. And the reason for this is if you imagine this is deep and here's the boat, here's the water line, I cast shallow, as slow as I retrieve, my bait's always going to be penduluming and it's going to be in the middle of the water column. That is not going to work well with this technique at all. Stay shallow, cast deep, make sure you're on the bottom and bring it up that structure or cover at that point. Remember this, if you do hang up in that grass, okay, you feel like your blade stops working and you have to pop it frequently, always make an extra 1 or 2 casts to that spot where you felt the grass. If it's clean, remember, that's not always that great in the wintertime. A little bit of grass getting hung up in your chatterbait in the wintertime is a great thing. Not all crawfish hibernate. A lot of them that are about that size in a dark green pumpkin color, just like that, hang out in those little grass roots and never go down into that mud. That's gonna get you a few extra bites on a chatterbait this winter, guys. Hopefully you kick some butt and post us up some big pictures here at Lucky Tackle Box. Make sure to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever other social media channels out there. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time.